Okay, so once again, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Um, Welcome to another session of Azure Power Lunch. Just a quick reminder that this call is being recorded and we place our recordings on our YouTube channel. If you don't want to be recorded, you may want to drop off now. Okay, so with that, we will, let me just put it in the presentation mode. Okay, so our topic of discussion today is about the how you can use custom containers in Azure App Service and Functions. So, I think we have discussed in the context of app service and function, custom containers, but I just want to have this discussion because based on my discussion with my customers, this has come up multiple times. There are some things that have, I won't say changed, but they have kind of updated in that regard. So I just want to bring that bring attention to those items. For example, we will talk about what are the with how you can integrate with container registry. Since there are containers, it has to go somewhere, and one place to go is Azure Container Registry. So how you can integrate with it, and how you can integrate with it through a private connectivity. And then same with Key Vault, and if you are mounting any shares, how you will do that. And at the same time, how you can have a secure network infrastructure and secure and private network infrastructure. Because number of customers, especially large customers, which have very strict privacy compliance guidelines, they want to see an infrastructure where there's no traffic going over the public internet, and where, as much as possible, the connectivity is through private network access. Okay, so with that, I'm going to start with a quick demo. So first, we're going to take a look at app service, running in a container, and then we will go about running it in Azure App Service and go from there. So first of all, here we have a, hope everybody can see my screen. So this is, a, as you can see, I'm opening Visual Studio Code, and in that I have a Docker file. So I'm using a simple sample that is available from Azure App Service. It's using Python, Flask. That's the container, that's the base container, as you can see, it is using. And it is running a simple web app on top of it, no frills, nothing. You can run that. So this is a container that we are going to be deploying, and we will take a look at it. And just keep in mind, to save time, we may be, I will show you a task, but then just show you the output because it takes some time to run that task in Azure sometimes. So, it takes, and we only have 30 minutes. Okay. So with that, any questions so far? Okay. So first of all, this is your container. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go in and we are going to build this container. So we are building it. And since I have already built it, it takes it, rebuilds very quickly, so that's good. And now what we're going to do is we are going to run this, and we are going to use Visual Studio Code. As you can see here, this is these are the containers. This is the one that since there is no change. So what I'm going to do, I am just going to run this container, and I am going to do that from the command prompt. So you can do it from here, or you can do it from here as well. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say run interactive, and it's going to run this container here. And so this is one way to test it, just to make sure that your container runs fine in um, Azure app service, you just want to make sure that it runs here without any issue. So with that, let me just open another browser and bring it here, localhost 8000. And as we open it, so here we go. So this is your app that is now running in a container. So this task we are able to accomplish. The next thing you want to do is push this image into a Docker registry. Just keep in mind, I'm showing these steps as manual just to demonstrate. Normally, you will be doing it through some sort of a CI/CD pipeline, which basically pushes your image builds your image through a CI pipeline, builds it, push it into the container registry, and from that. So I'm just showing it manually the steps just to better understand. Okay. So before I push it, let me show you how the container, um, the registry looks like and what I have done to make it when we are talking about private access, secure, and all that. So if I go into the resource group, um, and here we go, I'm going into the container registry. If that resource group has, it's always things a bit run a bit slow whenever you're running a demo. So come on, please. Okay, so here we go. One second. Once this thing come up, then we will go to the container because I want to show you how I have set up the networking and some of the things. So as you can see here, there is the Azure Container Registry. It's around. Yeah, so I just totally missed it. Okay, here's the container registry. And in terms of networking, I am blocking all traffic to it except, so it's a allow trusted connection and selected network. It's private endpoint that I have dropped in a in the same VNet where I am planning to deploy or VNet integrate my web app. So I've dropped a private endpoint there. In terms of public access, the only access is given to my IP. This is the outbound IP of my router, so I can connect to and upload images to the registry. Normally, in a practical scenario, your DevOps system, you won't even have that IP address. Your DevOps system will have a private endpoint there and it will push it through that. Okay. So just want to mention this. So with that, we are set here. The second thing that we are doing in this is um, in the access control, and let's go there. I have set up a role assignment for ACR pull. So this is a requirement that you have to have to once you pull, so that your app can okay, what's going on? Give it a second. It's coming up. Sorry, guys. I'm not sure why this is coming. Okay, so this is my app. As you can see here, and as I have created this app, and I will show it to you in a second. This is yeah. So sorry. I'm using a user assigned managed identity for my app, and I have given it ACR pull. So let me show you my app here. I go in there, and in that identity, I have set up a Okay, so here we go. User assigned managed identity. That's the use. So think of it. My app running using a user assigned managed identity to pull that image from the container registry. That's what it is doing. And it is doing it, if you look at the networking side of it, it has, it is VNet integrated, okay? And it is in the same VNet where the private endpoint has been dropped. So, and I, just for the reference, I'm gonna switch to the slide deck just to show you this diagram, folks. Uh, you see that? So you see here, premium function or app service dedicated subnet. Subnet, in that subnet, I am connecting it from that to the PE of ACR, and I'm using the um, basically, the managed identity of the managed identity or user assigned managed identity. So think of it, all everything through private connectivity. Nothing is open. Okay, all of that. And with that, what we're gonna do is same way we're gonna go in here and we are going to push this image into the container registry. And let me show you the deployment side of it. How does it look? Okay, so here we are. We go back to the app service and we go into the deployment center. Okay, and let's take a look at it. Okay, so this is how does it look like. You have a single container as your container registry. This is your subscription. You are using a managed identity, and it will ask you which managed identity you want to use. You want to use a system assigned or user assigned managed identity, and then the name of the registry and image and all that information. One thing to keep in mind, if you are pulling it, which you should, over VNet integration, the ACR image from ACR, you please turn this on. If you don't turn this on, this will not work. I mean, you will get an error that, hey, unable to pull the image, and you will see the public IP of your web app. Okay, that you cannot pull it from there and this and allow the open the firewall and things like that. So please turn this on. This is important for this scenario to work. And just keep in mind, when the initial integration was happening between ACR and app service, this wasn't a possibility. What wasn't a possibility? Ability to access an image using uh, private connectivity through managed identity over a VNet from ACR. That was not possible. And just keep in mind, it is not possible for Windows container. Only Linux container supported. Okay, so this make sure you note of it that at the moment, Windows container does not support the ability to access a container image from ACR through managed identity over VNet integration. I mean, private endpoint and VNet integration. Okay, so that's, just keep that in mind. Okay, so with that, I mean, you have continuous deployment, and once that image is there, um, just keep in mind that it will, depending on the size of the image, your app may take a few minutes to get up, so you may get like some error or something. Just keep looking at the logs. 1 second, let me just go back here. These logs, I mean, these are golden because they give you all the information, what is happening, if there is an error. As you can see, this is has just been pulled in, this image from the VNet. It has pulled this image and it's running. So all this information is really important that will help you kind of resolve any issue. You will see if there's an error in regards to pulling the image, it will show up here as well. So with that, hopefully this come up, and then we. So I will show you like how the app service looks like. I mean, it's nothing kind of earth-shattering, but the point here is not to show you how complex an app service can be. Point here is that how we can access the have this end to end without going over a public internet. Come on, this is annoying. Okay, in the meantime, any questions? Okay, so this thing has decided that it's gonna be really, really slow today. So not sure what's going on. I mean, for some reason, whenever there is a demo, things suddenly start running really, really slow. Okay, come on. Okay, so folks, we're gonna. Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Sorry guys, I think I have some network hiccup, and I just um kind of dropped, and it just dropped me. So let me share my screen again, and hopefully we still have. So once again, really sorry for the hiccup. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, so basically, I just wanted to show you the web app. So we open it, and this is how the web app look like. It come up, everything is good. A few things I want to show you. For example, if I go into the configuration of the web app and go to the, so I have a couple of file shares that are mapped to that web app as well. And once again, there to the storage account, there is no public connectivity. I'm accessing those private storage account through a private endpoint and mounting them onto um, onto my web application. And the mount is very simple. Basically, you pick a storage account, you pick blob, and as long as you have the private endpoint in the same VNet where your app service is integrated, you should be able to access it. And just to show you this, I will just want to go. Let's go to SSH and go in here. Um, and uh, So if I do df minus h, it will show you all the bindings. As you can see here, there are two bindings, blob data and file data, which are coming from, one coming from file share and one coming from blob. So everything, once again, through private connectivity. And let's just to prove the point, let's do um, blob data. So it will show you the content what are there. So what are in there. So once again, private connectivity, everything, all that. I I'm just gonna go through some of the stuff quickly. One last thing, um, Key Vault and the Key Vault references are now also accessible through managed identity over a private endpoint. So drop the Key Vault private endpoint into the same VNet where your app service is running, give the managed identity of the app service access to the key vault secrets. Whatever secret you create, those will be accessible from through key vault references over private endpoints. So once again, everything very secure. As you can see here, I have this key vault reference and it's showing with a check mark. It means it's able to access it. Okay. Any questions before we jump into functions? Okay. So let's quickly go into functions. I have a very simple function here that I have created. And then that function, it's once again, it's in a container. And let me just cancel out from here. Yeah. And functions in this scenario are once again very similar. You just take the function and you deploy it into as a container into the Azure function, the container into the function, and you run it from there. So let me just stop this. Okay. So with that, this is the function container, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the container code. Let's go in here. This is the Docker file, and this is uh, you know basically the code to run and make this container run. Just one thing I want to mention when we are talking about Azure Functions in a container. The UI support seemed a little bit different. Like for some reason, I couldn't deploy a custom container for the first when I. So I just used a sample container, but then when the website was created, I was able to deploy the custom container. So let me show you that as well. And I'm not going to go through the build and all that. I mean, since we have already seen it and we don't have much time left. So this is the container demo, and I'm gonna go straight to the deployment center. So what I wanted to show you here, once again, I'm using a managed identity, pull the container from my container registry. I have turned this on, continuous deployment is on, and I'm just pulling this container from the container registry and showing it and hosting it there. But if you are creating a function from scratch, for some reason, I couldn't see the option of having a container registry. It just gave me the quick start option. Okay, but don't worry about it. Normally, you're going to be deploying anyways through your CLIs, through your Terraforms, through your ARM or Bicep, things like that. So that won't issue will not come up. But just be aware that yes, when you initially deploy, it may show you the quick start, but then you can go back to the app and make these settings up, and then it will pick the image from the container registry and run it from there. So once again, this is running in the container registry, and what we can do is I'm going to go to my um, go to my function app, and I'm going to run it. So let's I think we have a browser here. So I'm going to go in here and just call the function. And as you can see here, this is the function being called uh, through the container running in a function. We have a custom container. And you can have, I mean, I'm using a very simple custom container, but you can have a very complex container. You can have all the, bells and whistle attached to it. Once again, some of the things that I want to show you, I have the managed identity, and this managed identity, if I go to the container role assignment, this managed identity, as you can see here, NZAPL Func container demo has ACR full access to the container registry. That's one thing. Second thing is in terms of networking, this is VNet integrated into the same VNet where we have dropped the private endpoint. Okay, so all the things, uh, just kind of want to reference this diagram that I have here. Everything through private connectivity without going over the public internet. Okay, so that's the, I mean, that's And as I said, this ability to access container images from ACR through private endpoint using managed identity through VNet integration wasn't there before. It has been made available, I think, a few months ago. So that's another thing that makes this entire secure reference architecture possible. Okay. So with that, I mean that's all the content I have. Um, any questions? Okay. And folks, again, just quick disclaimer, the reason I was showing images being uploaded to the registry and manually setting CI/CD, this is just for the demo purposes. Ideally, you should be using some sort of CI/CD pipeline, either GitHub Actions or something like that, to deploy your application from, from your code to the container registry to your app service or functions. Okay, so just want to give a heads up on that. So, any questions, anything in the chat window? Like, since I can't see the chat window.
No questions in the chat.
Okay. Then thank you very much for joining, and hope to see everybody next week for another session of Azure Power Lunch. And have a wonderful weekend. If you are in US, then have a wonderful long weekend. So, thank you very much.
David.